What would you do if the person who owed you everything chose death over responsibility, only for life to expose the lie? The day they told me he was dead, I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I didn't collapse. I just sat there, staring at the wall, feeling something hollow open up inside me. He had vanished overnight. No calls, no messages, no warning. Then came the news, whispered at first, then confirmed with details that sounded too rehearsed. An accident, a body recovered, a rushed burial in another town. People said his name softly, the way they do when they want tragedy to feel real. He was under pressure. He couldn't handle it. Life was too much for him. And maybe that would have made sense if he hadn't been running from something. From me, from his family, from the responsibilities he created and refused to carry. He owed money. He owed explanations. Most of all, he owed presence. When things became heavy, he chose disappearance. At first, I believed it, not because it made sense, but because disbelief felt cruel. Who doubts death? But grief has a strange way of sharpening memory. Little things didn't add up. The timing was too convenient, the details too clean, the silence too intentional. People moved on faster than I expected. His family mourned loudly for a week, then quietly avoided questions. His friends spoke about him in the past tense, but with no depth, like actors who hadn't memorized the script properly. I started asking questions. Nothing aggressive, just curious. Where exactly was he buried? Who identified the body? Why didn't anyone see him before the burial? The answers were always vague. That was when something inside me shifted. Because grief should feel heavy, but this felt managed. Still, I told myself to let it go. Dead men don't owe explanations. Until one evening, weeks later, something small happened, something ordinary that pulled the lie into the light. Before we continue, kindly like, comment, share, and subscribe. It motivates me. Also, tell me in the comments where you are watching from. I was scrolling through my phone absent-mindedly when a notification popped up. A name I hadn't seen since the accident. Active, online, alive. And in that moment, I understood something terrifying. He didn't escape responsibility. He postponed it, and life was already setting the stage for his return. I told myself it was nothing. A glitch. A recycled account, a mistake made by an algorithm that didn't understand grief. But logic has a way of collapsing when your instincts refuse to cooperate. I checked again, still online. The profile picture was the same one he used for years. That careless smile, the head tilt he always did when he thought he was clever. No updates, no posts, just presence. And presence was enough. I didn't confront anyone. I didn't screenshot it. I didn't tell his family. I waited. Because lies unravel fastest when you don't touch them. Over the next few days, I started paying attention to things I had ignored before. His phone number still rang. His email didn't bounce back. Small transactions appeared on an old joint account we hadn't fully closed. Nothing dramatic, just enough movement to remind me that death, real death, leaves silence behind. This didn't. At night, I replayed conversations from before he died. The arguments he avoided, the promises he postponed, the way he laughed things off when responsibility came too close. You worry too much, he used to say. Everything will settle. It never did. I visited his family under the excuse of checking in. They were polite, reserved, too composed. I mentioned his name casually. They flinched. Not the way people flinch from pain, but the way people flinch from exposure. It's at peace now, his sister said quickly. At peace from what? I asked about the burial location. Again, carefully. Oh, Somewhere in the east, she replied vaguely. It was rushed. Rushed funerals happen, but rushed answers do too. That night, I searched for records, accidents, news articles, hospital logs, anything. Nothing matched. No photos, no official statement, no trace. What I found instead was something worse. A new phone number registered under a fake name, an address linked to a cousin he barely spoke to, and a pattern. He hadn't disappeared randomly. He had planned. The realization didn't make me angry. It made me cold. Because people don't fake death out of fear. They fake it out of calculation. And if he was alive, really alive, then his silence wasn't cowardice. It was strategy. And strategies always leave trails. Once I stopped treating the idea as impossible, everything moved faster. Too fast. I began noticing patterns that felt almost careless, like he had assumed no one would ever look closely. A money transfer here, a login there, small digital fingerprints scattered across places he believed were invisible. I followed them quietly. One afternoon, I logged into an old shared account he once insisted we keep just in case. It hadn't been touched in months. Then suddenly, a withdrawal appeared. Small, cautious, almost polite. That was when the fear hit me. Not fear of him. Fear of what people are capable of when they think they've erased themselves. I didn't rush to expose him. I needed confirmation that couldn't be explained away. Something physical, something undeniable. So I did the one thing grief had trained me not to do. I went to where he was supposedly buried. The directions I'd been given were vague, but after enough asking, I found the place. A quiet cemetery on the edge of town. Dry ground, fresh stones, names etched carefully into concrete. I walked slowly, reading each one. He wasn't there. No marker, no temporary plaque, no freshly turned soil with his name. Just absence. As I stood there, a man approached, an older caretaker carrying tools. I asked him calmly if a burial had taken place recently, matching the name. He frowned. Many people come here, he said, but that name? No. My chest tightened. The lie wasn't just digital anymore. It was empty ground. That evening, my phone rang from an unknown number. I didn't answer. It rang again. Still, I didn't answer. The third time, a message came through. Stop asking questions. No greeting. No explanation. Just a warning. I stared at the screen, heart pounding, not because I was afraid, but because I knew something important. Dead people don't send warnings. Only desperate ones do. I replied with 3 words. Who are you? No response. Minutes passed. Then my phone buzzed again. Let it go. That was the moment I stopped feeling uncertain, because if he was truly gone, there would be nothing to protect. But someone was protecting something, and that someone was running out of space to hide. I didn't reply to the message. Not immediately. Instead, I did the one thing he didn't expect. I stayed calm. People who fake death expect panic, fear, silence. They rely on the idea that everyone else will be too emotional, too respectful, or too confused to challenge the story. So I waited. 2 days later, another transfer appeared in the account, slightly larger this time, less careful. That was the mistake. I followed the trail properly now. Bank records, address links, borrowed identities, the kind of work that requires patience, not anger. And eventually, the picture came together. He wasn't hiding far, just hiding plain. A small rented room under another name, a quiet life, no obligations, no debts, no explanations. I went there with one person, not the police, not family, a lawyer. When he opened the door and saw me, the color drained from his face. For a second, he looked like a ghost seeing the living. You're supposed to be dead, I said quietly. He didn't deny it. He slumped into a chair like a man who had been holding his breath for too long. I didn't have a choice, he said. Everything was closing in. I nodded slowly. That's what responsibility feels like, I replied. I didn't shout. I didn't insult him. I didn't threaten. I laid everything out. The debts, the false declaration, the messages, the financial trail. Faking death wasn't just cowardice. It was a crime. He begged, promised to fix things, asked for time. But responsibility doesn't negotiate once it arrives. Within weeks, the truth came out. Quietly, officially, without drama. His family was forced to confront the lie they helped protect. The debts returned, the legal consequences followed. The freedom he ran from found him anyway. As for me, I felt lighter. Not because I won, but because the burden he dropped by pretending to die was finally placed back where it belonged. Some people think disappearing solves problems. It doesn't. It only delays the moment life catches up. And life always does. If this story moved you, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. It truly helps this channel grow. Final question. Do you think faking death is ever justified, or is facing responsibility the only real way forward? Tell me your thoughts, and also let me know where you're watching from.